Okay, so this is a tutorial that might help some of you. It is based on this image that one of your colleagues showed me something similar. This is just a photo of Frank Getty. So she had these buildings that were quite deformed, and her problem was that in order to deform so much this and the windows, then she was getting she needed too many deformations. Okay, and here's the thing: if you notice these buildings, the windows are not deformed at all, and also not the glass. I mean, this has to do with reality, because deformed glass, curved glass, is too expensive. Okay, so you have to pick your battles. I mean, what is it that you want? So let's say you actually do want everything to deform. So let's start with some basic poly modeling here. I'm going to do 3 boxes, okay, so that you understand this basic logic. Just 3 boxes. Okay, and I'm going to add to this one 3 subdivisions, and also to this one 3 subdivisions, okay? But in this one, I'm going to select the edge loops, and I'm going to move them closer to the border, just to have more or less the same dimensions. I'm going to just select here the face and move it closer, okay? Now, I'm going to take this edge loop also, move it closer to the border, and this edge loop also move it closer to the border, the same here. So, this is what I have in terms of subdivisions, okay? If I press 3 here, if I press 3 on all of them, I get almost like a ellipse, like a American football ball. This is a very rounded box, and this is actually a box, okay? So that's basically the principle of polymodeling, that the closer my edges are, the more sharp it's going to be, okay? Now that we know that, let's add enough subdivisions to deform this. So I'm going to add some more edge loops here to this box in order to have enough subdivision. For that, I'm going to go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, and I'm going to add 1 in the middle in each side. And this is probably not going to be enough to deform the way I want to deform my shape. This is, I'm just going to make this higher. So I'm going to add another edge loop. I can also press Shift, right mouse click, and there's the edge loop. And let's say this is all right, okay? I'm not sure. We are going to take the risk. Just move this because I want things to have more or less the same dimensions. And now let's apply any deformer. Let's see how it behaves. So let's just add a twist. It's the most deforming one. And I'm going to add here, I think I have it, yes, on my custom shape shelf, I have the manipulator. Okay, and actually this is deforming quite well. So I think I'm going to keep that many subdivisions, okay? So my building is deforming well. But what about my windows? So if I would add, I'm going to copy this here, okay? If I would like to add a window, what do I have to do? Typical polymodeling would be I take the faces, okay? Now I'm going to extrude them, so Control E to extrude, and I'm going to keep the faces separated and offset them with less subdivisions. Sorry, subdivisions. Okay, and then I'm going to extrude this again and again. And so that's a building with some windows, okay? But if I want this to be deformed, then I need to add a bunch of edge loops. So insert edge loop here, so that the window is actually okay. And this is actually following this curvature. I'm going to improve that later on. So I'm going to go here and select my vertices. So I'm going to take this edge and I just scale them down, scale them together, okay, so that they are actually aligned. Just make sure they are closer to the edge of the window. I probably don't need my window to be that big. So let's just give me a second. Okay. So another edge loop here. Now I'm just going to move these edge loops to my convenience. I'm actually going to leave that there, and I'm going to select all of these vertex. No. Okay, I'll just move this edge loop and I consider those windows that big, okay? Okay, so what happens now if I do the smooth subdivision? It actually works, okay? But now I have these edges together, okay? So when I deform this is gonna deform sharper. So what can I do? Well, maybe I can take these edges and then can take all of these edges and then spread them more. So let's observe what happens when I bend this, okay? I'm just going to go to Deform, bend, I'm going to keep this out, and I'm going to apply the bend to this. Okay, and there it is. I'll just rotate my bend about 90 degrees. Okay, and I actually have a quite nice curvature, okay? What would happen if I didn't have this curvature? I'm gonna leave it on the top and not on the bottom, just so that you see. Now I'm going to apply a bend. And again, I'm gonna move it, and this I'm going to rotate about 90 degrees. So you see that this curvature is okay, but here it has this kind of bump, this sharpness. Okay, and this is what happens when you do it this way. So let's actually rotate my bend handle. Let's just do it in the other direction. I have the same situation here. I'm going to hide this. So it's quite sharp here and a lot more open there. Let's see what happens when I subdivide it. Well, it's not so bad. Okay, you can do it this way. So what is it that I do? I did basically make sure that these edges were kind of like in the same distance. Okay, I could actually move around all the edges the same way. I'm just taking back the edges. So what I can do is just take the whole edge and move it up and down. But what happens when I do that? Now I'm going to apply the bend. In this direction, it looks okay. Not down here, obviously. But in the other direction, it also looks okay. Now let's see what happens if it's subdivide. It actually works quite nice. And why does it work quite nice? Because I have enough subdivisions here to keep it from going too round, okay? But obviously I have a round edge here, it's not straight. So if you don't want this to look rounded, if you want it to look straight, then you cannot do it just in polymodeling. You have to do the windows outside, okay? So what I'm going to do is that I have this perfect cube already. So actually for that I'm going to do another tutorial so that I can separate both of them, okay?